Hey guys, in this video I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to set up a Nintendo Switch 2 onto a desktop computer monitor. So what we want to do is, of course, plug the power in for the Nintendo Switch 2 dock, as well as having the HDMI hooked up to the back of the Switch 2 dock. And then we're going to plug this HDMI into the back of this monitor, which is currently hooked up with my desktop computer, but we're going to be switching that over to this console. So looking on the back of my monitor, my desktop computer is actually currently using the display port, and I have two open HDMI ports that I can use. So I'm going to plug my Switch 2 into HDMI 1, and then I'm going to change over to that input to get this up and running. So the HDMI cord is now plugged in, so now I'm going to plug in the power cord for my Switch 2. On your monitor, you want to look for some buttons that you can use to change the input source of your monitor. So right now I'm on DisplayPort for my desktop. I'm going to try to change it to HDMI 1, and I need to figure out which of these buttons I'm going to use to do that. So I'm going to play around with these to switch the source over to HDMI 1 for my Switch 2. So clicking on the buttons on the back, I get this little menu here, and I want to open up the input option. So I'm going to click that option. So then I want to select the input, and I want to change that from DisplayPort to HDMI 1, and then select that. And now at this point, I want to turn on the console, and I'm going to detach the Joy-Cons as well, so I have a controller to use. And then the Switch is prompting me to adjust the display brightness, so after doing that, we can click Next. And then if you're good with the brightness, again, we can move on by clicking OK. And it's important to note that you can always go back and adjust the display how you'd like. And I now have my display hooked up and ready to be used with my Nintendo Switch 2. Now, the nice thing about this display is it has speakers built into it, so I can have the volume coming right out of the display itself. If you don't have speakers built in to your display, you can always do something like hooking up Bluetooth headphones or something to your Nintendo Switch 2 to get volume that way. But ideally, if you're hooking up your Switch 2 to a computer monitor, it's really nice having those speakers built in so that it's just easy, plug and play, you're ready to go, and you can get that volume right out of the gate. But that'll wrap this one up. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel for more Nintendo Switch 2 content in the future.